Don't worry, we can fix this.
Hi everybody, I'm meteorologist Jay Cardosi right here at WLKY in with meteorologist Matt Milosevic, and had some rough weather going on south of Louisville by about 60 miles or so. Little line of storms is actually wrapped up in the middle of it. A tornado warning has just been issued for really from near Campbellsville and points southward across southern Taylor County down through sections of Adair County, especially the northern portion of the county just north of Columbia. And you can see some rotation going on in that thunderstorm, a little area of low pressure that is wrapped up in this thunderstorm itself. The entire storm core now rotating as it moves off towards the east-northeast at speeds of around 40 miles per hour. So the bottom line, if you're in Campbellsville and point southward to near Burdick, down into extreme northern sections of Adair County, please get into your tornado warning shelter area right now. Stay there until this thing is passed on by. It's moving at a pretty good clip, and it won't be around any one location all that long, but you can see the rotation in this particular cell has really increased. Again, this is just south of Campbellsville, this Campbellsville proper area right now by about 3 to 5 miles, and Matt was putting on some of the wind velocities going on. Red are winds that are blowing towards the bottom portion of your TV set. Green in the opposite direction. We got a pretty good what we call velocity couplet indicating some strong cyclonic rotation there. Matt Shear was about what, 50, 60 miles an hour or so? Yeah, so it's a decently rotating cell right now. What you're looking at here on Super Doppler radar, the red circles are actually rotation down near the surface, down near the ground in the low layers of the radar scans, and yellow are actually rotation that's going on in the upper levels of the thunderstorm. So the entire storm core is rotating, and that's why the tornado warning has been issued. Boy, we're right down to street level mapping here for you as Matt puts on some of the streets in and around south of Campbellsville, State Highway 55, US Highway 68, and State Highway 70, especially these areas south of Campbellsville. That's where ground zero is currently located, if you will, for a possible tornado. Now, keep in mind, this is radar indicated. We don't have any confirmed tornado touchdowns. No funnel cloud sightings. We are making our phone calls, of course, to law enforcement, some of the storm spotters positioned down here in the southern reaches of the viewing area. But it is a storm that's rotating pretty violently right now, at least on the radar scope, and it is tracking off towards the east, slightly north of east at speeds of around 40 miles an hour. So some of the communities in the path of this rotation, the Holmes area around 333. Keep in mind, we're tracking the most dangerous part of the cell. That is where there is a potential for a tornado, at least some wind damage as well. Atchison around 336, the Nifley area 341, Dunbar Hill 342, and Casey Creek 345. It'll head towards Feathersburg around 347, Cementsville around 351. Pretty much staying in between Campbellsville and Columbia. So it's that area south of Campbellsville and north of Columbia, extreme southern sections of Taylor County and far northern portions of Adair County where the most violent weather, that is where the potential for a tornado is now the highest. There's the viewing area as a whole, some light rain shifting across the metro. You can see additional scattered showers the farther west you go. So unfortunately, as you know, been a very soggy 4th of July holiday. It's going to stay that way. Not a persistent rain in and around Louisville, but the scattered showers will certainly continue right on into your Monday evening. Of most concern from near Lebanon, but especially south through Taylor County, Greene County, where you and folks in Greensburg are also getting hammered right now with heavy rainfall, gusty winds, and a lot of lightning and thunder. And then down to just west of Columbia, that core of stormy weather moving eastbound at speeds of around 40 miles an hour. So again, a tornado warning in effect for areas near Campbellsville, especially south into northern Adair County. For about the next 12 minutes or so, this goes until 3:45 Eastern Daylight Time. And looking at the radar scope, you can clearly see what looks like a backward C showing up east of Burdick. We call that a Boeing segment. That is a radar signature that indicates we could be looking at some very strong straight line winds in addition to the rotation that would be just off to the north, right where you see this notch. And that's very close to Campbellsville, at least just off to your south and southeast. And you can see that rotation moving in an eastward fashion at about 40 miles per hour. Matt, looks like the rotation is weakened just a touch or so.
It does. I also want to mention, Jay, that there was trees down. There were trees down in portions of southern Greene County, south of Greensburg, near Exie. That just came in on the National Weather Service feed here just a couple of minutes ago. So there has been some damage reported with this storm system, but that was just trees down, not talking about structures or anything like that. So a little bit of good news there with that storm, but definitely means some business in a day where most of the storms so far today have just been heavy rainmakers and some frequent lightning. Now we're starting to see that not only these stronger wind gusts, but some rotation as well.
And one thing Matt and I want to point out, all of this dangerous weather is going to be staying well south of Louisville. There is absolutely no threat for severe weather around the metro as we move into the late afternoon or evening hours. Atmosphere is really turned over. We don't have any instability around the Louisville area, but there will be that threat, of course, for additional rainfall with scattered showers moving through. South of Louisville in our extreme southern communities, yeah, temperatures really heating up on this Monday afternoon, this 4th of July holiday, and it's that warm, moist air that has given rise to these bigger storms. And there's the tornado warning area that has been issued by the National Weather Service. Small warning, you can see it kind of highlighted right there from Campbellsville across the rest of southern Taylor County and extreme northern Adair County for the next several minutes. Additional severe thunderstorm warnings being issued out ahead of the tornado warning. That's telling us that the National Weather Service is likely going to be downgrading this thing over the next 10 minutes or so and will not continue on with the tornado warning the farther east you go. This is what we call our shear on the radar scope. And you see those brighter areas of green. That's where winds are 40, 50 miles an hour, Matt?
Yeah, that's what it looks like, Jay. That's tending to be the most, in terms of what we're seeing here. That's the main concern there. It's been in that 40 to 50 mile per hour range. And now with the latest scans being a little bit weaker,
good.
Hoping that's coming down a bit.
And notice we have a couple of little appearances here of backward sea as we were talking about those Boeing segments. One from Lebanon down to north of Campbellsville. The other one south of Campbellsville. That was the stronger one. That's the one that prompted the tornado warning. That's the one that is weakening, thank goodness, but still enough wind energy to at least give us the indications that there could be additional wind damage, maybe some trees knocked over, some power poles snapped, things like that. So again, if you're down here across Taylor County, really even southern portions of Marion County from Lebanon and points southward, be on the lookout for some strong winds, certainly torrential downpours, a lot of lightning and thunder. This stuff will be around your area for the next 15 to 30 minutes. It will move on through. We have additional storms behind it. These are not severe, but they will likely move across the same locations here over the next 1 to 2 hours. We do have that severe thunderstorm watch that continues for areas well south of Louisville right on into the early and mid-evening hours. Tracking the entire line segment here for you as it moves eastbound at speeds of around 40. It's, again, the leading edge is already through Campbellsville. Actually, if there is a tornado threat still out there, it's east of you folks. But nonetheless, you can see the leading edge of the higher wind field, the very heavy rainfall, and all that lightning and thunder will be hitting the Gadberry area around 339, Speck around 340, Nifley 341, Feathersburg around 341 as well. Those areas of north and northeastern sections of Adair County, and then points off to the east from there. This will actually take it out of the viewing area altogether, probably within the next 15 to 30 minutes or so. We'll go back to Matt. Matt, what about the rotation right now? Is this thing continuing to weakening somewhat?
You know what, Jay, looking at it, it does appear that way. You know, the best in terms of the rotation on the radar with this particular storm cell was a couple of scans ago in the radar, so that's definitely good news. So as we sometimes can see these particular cells cycle and build back up some strength, that's still, it could be a possibility, but at least right now, nice to see a little bit of that weakening trend in terms of the spin or the rotation that prompted the tornado warning with this storm system. Jay wanted to mention, too, also up towards Marion County, this is where we have a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect. This is going to go until 4 o'clock. That's just north of that main storm. That is primarily for wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour on the northern edge of that storm. We're also starting to get flood advisories out for this area as well. Of course, we've seen quite a bit of rainfall area-wide this weekend, and we're just adding to it here with the heavy downpours with this particular line of showers and thunderstorms. So just be on the lookout if you do have travel plans in this area. Some of those low water crossings could quickly fill up on some of those county and rural roads, perhaps even some of the U.S. highways across the area. Good news is no flash flood warnings just yet, just an advisory to be on the lookout for ponding, perhaps some minor flooding on some of the roadways. But Jay, definitely some good news with some of that rotation. Also, like you said, too, this is really now starting to push into the far southeastern parts of the viewing area. And here over the next about 5-10 minutes or so, should be getting on out of here and pushing out to the east.
Yeah, and if you're just joining us right now, Matt, thanks so very much. If you're just joining us, just know no severe weather around Louisville. Nothing expected. Everything is south of the parkways at this point in time, and any additional strong thunderstorm activity for the next hour or two will stay south of the parkways. This is really the main show that's going on, if you will. Moving into our far, far southeastern communities, as Matt just mentioned, we'll be moving out altogether here in relatively short order. It's a line segment that extends from Lebanon down to east of Campbellsville, through Campbellsville as well. Heavy rain in and around Greensburg to Columbia, and then south of there as well down to near the Kentucky and also Tennessee state line. These are some of the cloud tops that Matt is putting on. These storms pretty mean, I mean, growing upwards of around 50,000 feet in the atmosphere. Reason we look at cloud tops, typically the taller the storm, the stronger the storm. It's as simple as that. When you have wind energy in the atmosphere that's already present as the storms are moving through, well, storms can tap into that wind energy, even if that wind is way, way up in the atmosphere, and bring that wind down to the ground in the form of a damaging wind gust. And if conditions are right, you can get a tornado spin up. Looks like we've got a very strong wind field that is heading towards Bradfordsville right now. It's pushing into your area as we speak and strengthening somewhat. Certainly winds, at least up in the atmosphere, of 60 to 70 miles an hour. As it reaches down towards the ground, might be a little bit less than that, but still capable of producing some wind damage in southeastern portions of Marion County. Matt, some of the roadways right there, what do you got? Yeah, that's going to be the State Highway 208. Now that wind gust is pushing off to the east of it, but very near Bradfordsville, State Highway 49 and 337. That's going to be some of the areas there in the southeastern Marion County. Be on the lookout for this wind gust that could be in excess of 60 miles per hour. And Jay, it sounds like from some of the damage reports that we've gotten again near Exie in Greene County, south of Greensburg, with some trees down, very typical of some of these severe thunderstorm wind gusts, 50, 60 perhaps miles per hour out there. So the good news is so far it has seemed to have been pretty isolated with these thunderstorms. We're definitely not seeing tons of reports come in. Am looking at one report here just in from the National Weather Service. They said just got a funnel cloud report in eastern Taylor. So that was one of the reasons why they went with the tornado warning with this storm system as it pushed on off towards the east. So they were at least getting, and it does not say where that came from, whether or not it was just a public report or an official storm spotter report, but nonetheless, there was at least some lowering of the cloud base that had people calling in to either sheriff's departments or the National Weather Service themselves that was prompting this particular tornado warning. And radar picked that up very well as well. So good news there that the entire wind field is getting ready to move out of the viewing area altogether. Yeah, it's still kind of ragged there, if you will, very discombobulated on the leading edge, indicating that there can be a lot of chaotic wind flow still going on and still some backward sea showing up on the radar scope. Further indication that we could be looking at pockets of strong straight line wind damage. This is the rotation that Matt was referring to that likely prompted the funnel cloud sighting and the tornado warning, obviously. And you can see that it continues to move off towards the east, is now moving out of the viewing area, getting ready to move out of Taylor County, well off to the east-southeast of Campbellsville right now. But basically the rotation is right there. You can see clearly the green, winds blowing towards the top left-hand portion of your TV set, red in the opposite direction. That's the rotation that we continue to track. Not as strong as what it once was, so good news there. And again, that is now moving out of Taylor County. Altogether is going to be moving away from Adair County as well. Keep in mind that tornado warning goes, though, for just about the next minute or so, and then it's going to be pushing out of the viewing area altogether. Farther off to the north, Matt, it looks like, boy, that wind gust that's right around Bradfordsville, that looks to be still quite intense at this time.
It definitely does. In fact, continuing to watch that, Jay, as we were seeing, really that has some of the most intense wind energy, at least in terms of straight line winds right now, into eastern portions of Marion County. We'll go ahead and zoom on again right in. That was again near the Bradfordsville area, really right on top of Bradfordsville right now with some of those wind gusts. We'll go ahead and put some markers on there to just give you an idea here, some of that strongest wind energy. And you just saw that update on the radar come in. So this is right now we're looking at anywhere from 58 to 65 mile per hour winds with that gust. And Jay, just for a point of reference, that's about 3,500 feet up on the radar scope. So even if we take a 5 to 10% deduction off of that, we're still looking at wind speeds getting close to that 60 mile per hour mark and definitely in the severe range there.
Yeah, certainly strong enough to bring down some trees and power lines. So if you're certainly here in eastern sections of Marion County, Bradfordsville, of course, and surrounding communities, boy, just be in your warning shelter area. Let this thing pass on by, and it will relatively quickly. Once the heaviest rain moves out, conditions will really be calming down across Marion County, as well as Taylor County and also Adair County. That's where the most intense weather is presently located. The tornado warning that was in effect for Taylor County, northern Adair County, that has been allowed to expire. No further indications of reissuing that, Matt, from what you see?
Jay, no, they do have a tornado warning in effect, though, for extreme northern portions of Adair County. What I want to do is we go over to the storm analyzer radar, and you'll be able to see that. I can, I believe, let's see, am I the one putting that in? Here, let's
it's on
give you a quick there. Okay, the storm analyzer radar here. We're going to zoom in. They did issue a new tornado warning just off to the east and really even southeast of the main one that's going to be into extreme and also very rural portions of Adair County. That goes until 4 o'clock, Jay.
Okay, it looks like there's a little Boeing segment right there, and maybe on the northern side. Let me get into the actual key wall here and explain what's going on. Okay, you can see the rotation right there. There's red, winds blowing towards the bottom portion of your TV set, green in the opposite direction. Looks like things are strengthening just a little bit as the colors are becoming a little bit more vivid, a little bit brighter green, a little bit brighter red there as well. And notice that backward C showing up. We call that a Boeing segment, and typically it's on the northern side of that Boeing segment where you can get potentially little tornado spin-ups from time to time. Not the mammoth tornadoes that you hear about happening in the plains or like what we had back in March of 2012. Instead, just those quick little spin-ups a possibility, and it looks like it's still that chance for this to happen now across extreme northern sections of Adair County, as Matt mentioned, and this will soon be pulling out of the viewing area altogether. So really, Matt, two areas that we continue to monitor. The first, the high wind field, the straight line winds in southeastern Marion County right there, and that still looks like a very strong wind field moving across Bradfordsville, getting ready to push out of Marion County, and finally that other little rotation area that's in northern Adair County.
Yeah, that's for sure, Jay. Those are definitely the two spots that we continue to watch. If there is any bit of good news, at least right now, is that we haven't had any reports of an actual tornado reaching the ground. These have continued to be radar indicated, but again, there were some reports from the National Weather Service of a funnel cloud in the eastern portions of Taylor County. That was several minutes ago. And then also maybe perhaps another little bit of good news is, at least at the moment, we haven't had many reports of any damaging wind gust out there. We did get one report in from near Exie, Kentucky, which is south of Greensburg in the southern portions of Greene County there, that had some thunderstorm wind damage and trees down in that area and community. But that has been the last one that we've seen. That was, again, several minutes ago, so nothing new coming in from that level. So I think some good news there, Jay, here. Most of that activity getting ready to move into Casey County in terms of the severe or the tornado warning, and extreme eastern portions of Marion County with that strong wind gust still in the Bradfordsville area. And everything well south, southeast of the metro, as well as E-Town and Bardstown, south of the parkways. It's going to stay south as well. As a matter of fact, this will likely be it for the severe weather threat as we move deeper into the evening hours, as well as everything should shift off to the east and southeast of our viewing area. Having said that, don't get me wrong, the rain chances will continue. It still looks damp on occasion as we move through this 4th of July evening. So if you have the outdoor plans, big soccer game is scheduled for 7:30 tonight at Slugger Field. A lot of other 4th of July festivities going on. Pack the rain gear, have a good time, but just know the rain chances will continue. Here's the bigger picture. You can see all of the viewing area right now. Areas of green, even a little bit of yellow around Jefferson County. Light to at times moderate rainfall. Another batch that's kind of spinning its way, rotating in from the west out of southwestern Indiana, western Kentucky. That will keep the shower chances going right on into this Monday evening. But where temperatures really heated up earlier today, well into the 80s once again, high humidity, that's where those storms have really blossomed, tapping into that heat, that instability, tapping into some of the wind energy that is also blowing across the Ohio Valley. The end result, a couple of strong and severe cells, some of which are rotating, still a rotating cell that's moving out of northern Adair County into Casey County as we speak. Tornado warning will likely be discontinued for Adair County probably within the next several minutes. But keep in mind this warning goes until 4 o'clock, so we'll be getting you back to Y&R so you can see your program in its entirety. Otherwise, another very strong wind gust here in eastern and southeastern Marion County, getting ready to push out of the viewing area as well. Looking at, what do you got there, Matt, the rainfall? Yeah, that's the Ville, Jay, just kind of looking for any potential hailstones in these particular cells, and doesn't look like very much there. You know, earlier we were talking about cloud tops upwards of 50,000 feet. The tornado warned storm, the top of those clouds still in that 45 to 50,000 foot range, so it is still a very formidable storm, and does look to be, though, that the strongest of that rotation here just getting ready to move out of Adair County. I think we could start to make that argument that it's on the Casey-Adair County line right now, and really hasn't shown many signs of strengthening, Jay. Remember a couple of scans back of the radar, you know, it did kind of peak there as the tornado warning was issued, and also had the National Weather Service also say that the tornado funnel cloud reports out of eastern portions of Taylor County were public reports, but that there were several of them, so they were concerned about that rotation and the tornadic potential with it, with this particular storm due to those public reports down in Taylor County. But again, from what you've seen on the chat rooms and things like that, no tornado touchdowns, just the funnel cloud sighting at this time. That looks to be it, and in fact, they're talking about not planning, this is their words, not planning another tornado warning downstream or to the east at this time. Overall signature much weaker. That's a quote here from the National Weather Service. Okay, so folks, bottom line, the tornado warning continues until 4 o'clock, top of the hour, Eastern Daylight Time, for extreme north and northeastern Adair County on into Casey County. Looks like the strongest rotation, though, is now moving away from Adair County, and another very strong wind gust that's blowing across far eastern Marion County. This, too, will be moving out of the viewing area altogether. Still right there, you can see the brighter shades of red and pink even showing up. That's where the winds could be upwards of around 60 miles an hour, certainly 50 to 60 miles per hour. But that wind gust also seems to be coming down just a little bit. You notice how Matt went back in time, though, that larger area of pink that showed up right around Bradfordsville, and we come to the present time, it's no longer there. It's
coming down in intensity, telling us that this storm might have peaked, at least in our viewing area, and things may start to settle down just a little bit in our far southeastern communities. Hey, keep in mind, these things are just full of water. I mean, there is so much moisture in the atmosphere. Rainfall is extremely heavy. As Matt talked about, we've had other areas of heavy rainfall past couple 3 days or so, so there could be some minor flash flooding underneath some of these heavier cells. You're looking at the rainfall amounts here. Is this 3 hourly, Matt? 1 hourly? What do you got there?
That's the 1 hourly, Jay.
1 hourly.
Little over an inch in some spots.
So no doubt, over the past hour or so, 1 to 2 inches of rainfall. It's still coming down. There are additional scattered showers and storms the farther west you go as well. And it looks like we'll be adding to some of these rainfall tallies, especially the heavier amounts of rain south of Louisville and south of the parkways. There's the tornado warning. From Nifley and especially now off to the east into Casey County. And there's the severe thunderstorm warning a little bit farther off to the north from Bradfordsville and points off towards the east. Extreme eastern Marion County. This will take it farther off to the east and south of Lexington here in relatively short order. Tornado warning goes until 4 o'clock, folks, but Matt, looks like the most dangerous part of the cell is out.
It's out of the county, and also, Jay, you might have noticed there just to the east of the tornado warning for portions of Casey and Lincoln County, a new severe thunderstorm warning has been issued out ahead of that. So basically what's going to happen is the National Weather Service over the next 5 minutes is going to allow this tornado warning to expire, and then it's going to be replaced, and it'll be replaced east of the WLKY viewing area with a severe thunderstorm warning. So some good news for our friends and neighbors to the east of the WLKY viewing area, and just some good news overall that while still a strong storm and a potentially severe storm and some of those high wind gusts, looks like the tornado potential has definitely weakened with this particular line, Jay.
Sounds good. Matt, thank you so very much, folks. Bottom line, the severe threat is starting to wind down in the viewing area. Still some strong storms, as Matt just talked about, but these will be pushing out of the viewing area here in the next 5 to 10 minutes. The tornado threat is now gone across the WLKY viewing area. Got a big episode of Y&R coming up here in the next 4 minutes. We're going to get you over to that here right now. Thanks very much for allowing us to keep you safe and informed. Let's get you back to regular programming.